Let's talk about something pretty much all of us have in our kitchen: honey. We know it's sweet, we know it's ancient, and yeah, it's delicious. But what is it, really? Like, from a purely scientific point of view?
So many of us grab the honey bear when we want a healthier sweetener for our tea or yogurt. But is that reputation actually earned? Is there something more going on inside that golden liquid besides just sweetness? That's the big question we're going to dig into.
Okay, so let's get right into the science of it all. We are going to peel back the label, look past the sweetness, and get into the nitty-gritty of what makes honey, well, honey. And we'll see what the latest research has to say about how it affects our bodies.
I mean, think about it. For thousands of years, in cultures all over the world, honey wasn't just something to eat. It was medicine. People used it for sore throats, for coughs, even for healing wounds. And what's so cool is that science is just now starting to figure out the why, the actual chemical reasons those old remedies might have worked.
So, what are these secret ingredients that give honey its punch? To find out, we have to go microscopic. We're going to zoom way, way down into the molecular level and see what really separates honey from, say, just a simple sugar syrup.
And here's the magic word: phenolic compounds. I know, it sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. These are powerful little substances that plants make. You can think of them as having a kind of triple threat of superpowers. They're antioxidants, so they protect our cells, they're anti-inflammatory, so they help calm things down, and they're antimicrobial, which means they can help fight off germs.
Now check this out. These phenolic compounds break down into two main groups: phenolic acids and flavonoids. All those other names you see there are just specific types that we find in honey. These are the real heavy lifters, the molecules that are doing most of the work when we talk about honey's health benefits.
And look, this isn't just a wild guess. This quote is pulled directly from a huge scientific review. It's saying point blank that those amazing properties of honey are mainly because of these phenolic compounds. The science is pointing right at them as the source of honey's power.
Okay, so it's one thing to know what's in the honey, but what does it actually do for us, for our bodies? That's what's next. We're going to see what a massive analysis of clinical trials actually found.
And when I say massive, I mean it. The researchers didn't just look at 1 or 2 studies. Nope, they reviewed 48 different clinical trials. And they looked at a huge span of time too, almost 40 years of research, all the way from 1985 to 2022. That gives us a really big picture view.
And get this, across all of those 48 trials, the total number of people involved was over 3,600. So we're not talking about a tiny little observation here. This is a pretty significant body of evidence from thousands of actual people.
So, after all that, what did the research show? Well, the results were pretty wild. The review found links between honey and better heart health, lower metabolic risks. It even seemed to help with blood sugar control. And then there's the stuff that sounds more like those ancient remedies, right? It helped soothe mouth sores from cancer treatments, calmed coughs in kids, and even helped wounds heal. That is a seriously diverse list of benefits.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? Like with any good science, we have to look at the whole picture. The findings are really promising, yeah, but the researchers were also clear about some limitations that we really need to keep in mind.
So here's the deal. On the one hand, the promise is clearly there. The review found way more positive effects from honey than negative ones. That's great. But, and this is a big one, for any specific health benefit, the number of studies is actually still pretty small. On top of that, not all the studies were done the same way. So it means we need more really high-quality, consistent research before we can make any rock-solid claim.
So we've seen the exciting science and we've seen the scientific footnotes. Putting it all together, what's the practical takeaway here? What does this all actually mean for you and me in our day-to-day lives? All right, listen up, because this is probably the most important takeaway of all. The health benefits of honey were most clear, most obvious, when it was used to replace other sweeteners. This isn't about just piling more honey onto your diet. It's about making a smart swap. Taking out refined sugar or high fructose corn syrup and putting in honey instead. That's where the magic really seems to happen.
So let's circle all the way back to that first question. Is honey just a fancy type of sugar? Well, the science says, no, not really. It's a really complex food packed with these beneficial compounds. But the key to unlocking those benefits isn't just eating more of it, it's about being smart with your substitutions, which leaves us with a pretty simple question to think about. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's talk about something pretty much all of us have in our kitchen: